Bonjour et bienvenue dans le podcast MorePeople. That will be the end of the French for
what
today.
A shame.
From me at least. Joined today, thank you for joining us first of all, but joined today by Jean-Marie Graux, hence the attempt at my appalling French. Jean-Marie is the operations director of a business called Fischer Farms, which we're going to spend a lot of time talking about because it's extremely interesting. Can you give us a bit of a snapshot of the career history and where you've been, what you've done?
So yeah, I actually came to the UK in 96, so quite, a long time ago, almost 30 years ago, and started my career in fresh produce, basically business. For a company called Company Fischer, and then went on, developing my career in procurement, operation, commercial, to in a company like Graux, or Jamaican producers at the time. So very much into the exotics, basically a business importing and distributing fruit in the UK. Went to become MD, and then after that, traveled around, went to France again. So all my background has very much been into supply chain. In 2015, I decided actually to take a bit of a step back from the corporate world and working more with startups, basically. So did different projects, and that led me to growing some berries and developing farms in Morocco for a while. And then after that, joining basically the vertical farming trend within farm in 2020, just in between COVID, basically, which was quite a challenge. And then in 2023 now, I actually joined Fischer Farm, basically, to drive the operation of the business.
So tell us a bit about Fischer Farms and what vertical farming actually means. I'm expecting most of the people that watch our podcast are some way in the industry, but if you don't know anything about vertical farming, what actually is that?
So Fischer Farm has actually been founded by Tristan Fischer in 2016, and started basically with a small facility in near Lichfield, and the view, basically the objective of Tristan was actually to develop a process of producing food to feed the planet without trashing it. Lots of different iteration, basically, as common sense. Basically, we set up the farm in which is now R&D site and also semi-commercial activity near Lichfield in the Midlands in 2019. And then in 2022, we started actually developing the farm in Norwich, which is our biggest site. We've got 25,000 square meters of growing space that we are currently ramping up.
And this is all indoor
growing.
On shelves?
Yes, on shelves, basically with
LEDs,
hydroponic system process that is used. Hydroponic is not nothing new. It's been used for lots of years. Historically, also has been used in glasshouse as well. So it's very much introducing technology that actually is used in the glasshouse world, that also you bring indoors, so you control the environment, you control the temperature, you control the humidity, all the climate parameters to give the plant the best environment, basically, to grow and to develop during the growing cycle in order to maximize the quality aspect. And we provide artificial light with LED in order to get the photosynthesis, basically, system working.
The technology for things like LEDs has obviously come on a lot.
Yes.
in recent years. How well understood is it now, and how fine-tuned is the nature of the light and the wavelengths and the strength of the lighting to optimize the growing conditions?
So it is well understood, but it's a continuous development as you've got actually technology that improves. What type of lights actually that was introduced or produced, in 2018, 2019, 2020 is not completely obsolete, but far less efficient than what actually is being produced now. We work with also, some universities, basically, who are specialized into lighting and working on actually the different wavelength you can use in different part of the cycle to be more suitable basically to develop crops. At the moment, we're currently focusing on leafy greens, but later on, basically our main target is to produce fruits, and then afterwards basically also proteins, because you can't fill the planet with only leafy greens. It's very nice, but it's only as a top up basically on some of the else's plates. So we need to be able to actually the overall end game is to produce things that are actually going to be enough, bring calories basically enough to feed a human being, and you need proteins and a bit of fruit, not just leafy greens basically.
So is the environment and the system different for different products and at different stages in the growing cycle of whatever product you're growing?
You can do that, but we try to actually have different stages basically of the growing cycle manage according to what is required. So we've got in Farm 2 in Norwich different growing chambers in which we would have a certain kind of parameter that will actually be measured and used basically for growing the plant. And if that only corresponds to a certain part of the growing cycle, then we move to another tunnel basically to finish basically the cycle until it's ready for harvest.
And I guess the beauty of vertical farming is you can do this anywhere.
It's easier. I mean, one of the challenge is always when you install food production, you go through planning. So there's certain kind of requirements. Some of the technology that we're currently developing in our site in Birmingham is developing a growing module that actually is more versatile and smaller, that you can actually be also mobile and adapt to an existing glass house and existing manufacturing site that wouldn't require any planning. So to take that away basically and speed up the scaling process basically of installing a vertical farming unit. So you will need to actually, in our existing farm in Norwich, we actually had to go through planning, but we set up on the Food Enterprise Park, so that was actually much easier and allowed us actually to develop basically our farm. Afterwards, it's very much growing your crop inside the farm and then filling up the capacity.
As I understand it, one of the biggest challenges as well outside of planning is about the energy.
You're right, Andrew. Energy is one of our biggest basically challenges in our process, and we're using a fair amount, and would actually our sound strategy on energy is very important basically for vertical farming to be successful and to be sustainable. So what we've actually decided to adopt is currently we are 100% renewable energy partly through the grid, and we've got actually solar farm that is being built near our site, so we'll be able to tap by beginning of next year into the source basically of solar energy, and then the rest will be topped up basically by wind farms that is offshore basically in Norfolk. We're also looking we've been looking at other source of energy like anaerobic digestion.
Is it always going to be about tapping into existing solar farms, offshore wind farms, anaerobic digestion, or would you ever conceive a world, or would Fischer opt for a world in which you build your own purely for the purpose of that vertical farming site?
We're not into the building of solar farms. Basically, we've got our founder actually, Tristan, was involved in his earlier career in developing renewable energy projects. So he's got a lot of expertise basically in that part. But the whole purpose of Fischer Farm is very much of producing food and technology that are able to produce food basically into a controlled environment without actually trashing the planet. So at the moment, I don't see us actually, developing plenty of solar farms basically around, more into trying to tap into existing infrastructure or working alongside with partners basically that would develop that kind of facilities basically where we can apply or build basically a vertical farm.
You mentioned earlier about the future of vertical farming and trying to extract more calories from the resources that have gone in, the energy that's gone in, the time and effort in building the site, and talking about proteins potentially as a more calorie dense product versus leafy salad. Where will that trend go? What sorts of things can we expect to come from vertical farms?
I think it will come. Currently, one of the biggest challenges basically to make it, because you don't want to actually produce food that is exorbitant in terms of price and it's not affordable. So food needs to remain affordable for the mass market, and whatever product is actually produced in a vertical farming environment needs to be competitive. So one of the challenges for the like of growing proteins like wheat or soya currently is in our countries, in Northern Europe, is very much the cost of energy. And you need to, operate with a much lower cost basically on energy to make it affordable. It is feasible. We've done it basically, and you've got great yields, massively superior to traditional farmland, because also you are not limited to only a season. You're able to replicate that 52 weeks of the year. So you increase your output very much. So plus, controlling the environment gives the benefit basically of getting more kilos per square meter that you would get in a traditional field. But there again, once with improvement of technology, improvement of lighting, improvement basically in energy sources and reduction of costs, basically will enable actually to break those barriers and deliver the kind of protein, but not as a replacement of traditional agriculture. We see ourselves more as providing a solution that helps and support agriculture when you've got lots of fluctuations. We think basically by bringing on a technology that's unable to control, to grow in a controlled environment and also use far less water that you would need into traditional agriculture, helps to balance some of the risks, and you're able to de-risk basically your supply chain or help growers, help businesses that are involved into the processing to de-risk their supply strategy by bringing that kind of technology within their business model.
And is this a global trend? You've worked all around the world. Is this a global trend, or is the UK at the forefront of this as pioneers?
I think UK has been basically pushing a lot, but you see, vertical farming businesses that have developed in other part of the world where also energy cost is actually far more affordable. So you've got North of America, you have UAE very much, where you've got actually access to cheap energy, and for those countries is also very much an access to a challenge in terms of food security. So you're able to bring more product grown inside the own country instead of having to depend on importation.
So we can expect more from vertical farms.
I think you'll expect more. We've seen, unfortunately, lots of bad news on the price over the last couple of years, especially following the energy crisis from Ukraine, which had a big impact on lots of businesses, because it is a challenge. It's not an easy an easy business, and every day it's a lot of hard work basically to optimize, to grow internally, and trying to minimize the cost basically of growing while you're still producing a good crop. It helps build a bit of resilience, and resilient businesses try to actually change a little bit or adapt their strategy to face the challenges basically we've seen. I think we'll manage to survive. There'll be a few, and they'll continue, and we hope basically, we think we're going to be one of those, and continue basically to grow and provide new opportunities in the future.
Let's hope so. It's one of the cooler, sexier ends of the market. So I think it definitely warrants further reading, further Googling from people watching the podcast to explore, because it's definitely an interesting thread to pull on. We'll signpost all of these things in some links so people can explore and pick your brains and perhaps take some of those opportunities to come see the site, because it's definitely a good news story.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much.
It's great to have you.
And I hope to see you basically over there very soon.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Thanks, Jean-Marie.
Thanks very much.